Hello, everyone. Ron Callis with One Firefly, another episode of Automation Unplugged. We're actually on episode 17. Can you believe that? It is 12:34 p.m. I swear, as much as I try to start on time, technology throws me curveballs. The latest is this video has been shrinking. So if it happens while I'm live with you today and it all of a sudden looks super wacky, I've got a really handy solution. I pull my camera out and I plug it back in. So hopefully that doesn't happen to us today. But I have an awesome guest. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. I've got Josh Christian. How you doing, Josh?
Doing well. Thank you. Welcome, everybody.
Awesome. So Josh is the Director of Certification for a brand new organization called the Home Technology Association. Did I get that right, Josh?
You did.
Awesome. So, Josh, we are streaming live on Facebook on the One Firefly page. So I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to glance over at the page and make sure that stream is coming in. I'm just going to refresh my Facebook page. And if you guys and gals are out there, please like this feed, share this out with your network so that your friends and industry peers have a chance to listen to Josh and learn about the exciting things that HTA is.
Share this out with your networks.
Oh, looks like Josh just pressed play, maybe.
Yeah.
Technology is always fun like that. So, again, if you're out there, please share it. If you have questions for Josh, you want to learn about the HTA, learn about the organization and what they're setting out to do. We're going to try to answer a lot of those questions for you today. But if we don't answer those questions, or maybe we're not going in the direction you'd like us to, please post a comment or a question here in Facebook, and I'll read that off. I'll try to check back often and read those questions off to Josh, so that we can all learn about this organization. But Josh, if you don't mind, if you can tell my audience just a little bit about yourself. You know, how did you land in the home automation marketplace?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. So I've always been a hobbyist on technology, especially audio. That was my passion from being a pretty young guy. And I entered in this industry in 1995 out in Southern California, more of a storefront company that we did audio, video, and home theater systems. But I moved into the custom installation side of the industry in 1998 and I did my first home automation system in 1998 and never looked back. And all based in Southern California. So I've been in the custom side as a custom integration contractor since 98 all the way through to 2015. In 2015, I stayed in the industry but shifted into the technology consulting role, helping work with architects, designers, and builders and such, and of course their clients, their homeowners, to help them figure out the best technologies for their homes. And in my role as the consultant, we didn't sell or install product, but did the design and engineering for those systems with a company called Axiom Design out of Northern California. So been in the industry for a while now, about 22 years.
Now, you launched your new endeavor, HTA, or the Home Technology Association. You launched that publicly on August 29th. Is that the exact date, or was it another date?
No, that's it. That was the day that the industry came out to know what we were about. There was an article in CE Pro, Jason Knott wrote it, and that was the article that announced to the industry what we are. So that was our public day, and it's been a big hit since then, no looking back. So yeah, that was the day. It went live, and the response has been excellent. Had a lot of conversations with integrators in this country and even internationally. So the word's getting out.
You were just telling me before we went live that you've had folks reaching out to you from Australia and England and throughout Europe, right?
Yeah, and New Zealand and Canada. Yeah, so this is right now we're focused on the United States, to get this built out. There's a lot of work in putting this together. It was kind of a year in the making. And it's going pretty much as planned. Little changes we have to adapt. So we want to get everything completely figured out and ironed out before we complicate things a little bit more by expanding out and making the website work in multiple currencies and languages and such. But we will be expanding internationally. So I could add New Zealand to that list if I didn't say it too. So talk to some nice integrators down in New Zealand. And Australia is even sending a list of integration companies, and they're already interested in looking into this. So nice to see that kind of response.
For our audience, let's just back up a little bit. What is HTA, and why did you launch or create the Home Technology Association, and what's your mission statement? What's the purpose of the organization?
Sure, excellent. So the Home Technology Association, what it is, it's a third-party company. We have not had a standard in this industry of what good looks like. What makes a company excellent, and so that is what we have gone about to create. And the reason that this started is for multiple reasons, actually. And one of them is that the reputation of the low voltage installation industry is remarkably bad amongst consumers, architects, builders, and designers. Too many of these people have been let down in the past by poor installations, bad service, clients that can't use the technology and such. And this has led to the reality that consumers often ask for less technology in their next home, which is a fail for everybody, right? No one wins there. So a system needed to be put in place to educate and inform homeowners and to help them choose the right integration company. So that's it so this is really a consumer-facing organization. This is designed to help homeowners find the right technology integrators for their needs, their size of their project, and the complexity of their project. But it also was created to help manufacturers. So some interesting statistics, something we all recognize if we're in this industry, is that great brand names in this industry have had their names sullied by poor quality installations. As we know, on the complicated control systems and lighting systems, when they're installed correctly, it's like magic. Clients love it. When it's installed poorly, they hate it, and they'll often blame that manufacturer. So, and this is an interesting statistic here, about 90% of manufacturers' tech support resources are spent on the lowest performing dealers, supporting them and troubleshooting with them because people don't.
If you don't mind, I was going to just mention for the audience, I remember back in my Lutron and my Crestron days, that when there'd be upset customers, they would reach out to the headquarters, and then headquarters would get in touch with me as a regional, and they would loop me in on the situation, and it was pretty funny. It was usually the same handful of integrators causing most of the havoc, whether it be in their installation practices or their poor customer service in the way they were dealing with the customer. And yet the best of the best, you'd certainly never hear anything negative from. So I concur. There are just as all plumbers are not the same and all car mechanics are not the same, all integrators are not the same. Doesn't mean they can't get better or they aren't trying hard, but there certainly are, grades or segmentation or classes of companies in the way they treat their customers.
Yeah, well said. I couldn't have said that better. That's excellent. That's true. So with the Home Technology Association, what we're doing is by recognizing these better integrators, the ones that aren't creating these technical or these customer support problems and making the phone ring to these manufacturers, come in here and fix this problem. We want to use this as a tool to shift the business away from those poor performing integrators up to the better performing integrators and give them and the consumers a tool to do so, to highlight and shine a spotlight on those companies that are doing a great job. And that's what we're helping with manufacturers. But also on the dealer side, of course, this is where so much interest is coming since we've launched, is on the dealer side. Great dealers consistently lose business to inferior installers because homeowners, unfortunately, view all companies in this space pretty much as equals. And because of that, they often hire on price. So, since there's a lot of confusion on the homeowner side, we wanted to simplify the hiring process and help them make smart decisions.
Now, Josh, quick question for you. How, I mean, you're a brand new organization, and I looked, I think you have it on your website. I certainly know it through conversation. Your board of advisors that you have, now it's not a board of directors, right? They don't have fiduciary responsibility, but it's a board of industry leaders, is really impressive. That you've got, I don't know if you want to go through that list of who's on the board of advisors for HTA. It's kind of a who's who from the automation industry. How did you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, coming out of the gate, right, with no proof of concept.
Right. Yeah. There's nine excellent people on our board of advisors, and some of the names on there. We have John Clancy from Crestron. We have J.C. Murphy from Savant. Bryce Judd from Control4, David Weinstein from Lutron, Jason Sloan from Dana Innovations, Jason Knott from CE Pro at EH Media, and Noah Kaplan from Leon Speakers, Frank Stearns from Sony, and Richard Gleich from Auzione. So we have 9 of these people, all well known in the industry, full of information, experience, advice to help create the standard. And you're right, this is what made us really excited about this. How this came about is a concept that came up about August of last year, August of 2016. And at the CDS show in 2016, we went around and had meetings with these professionals and said, hey, this is a concept we have. It didn't even have a company name at this point, just the concept of what the Home Technology Association eventually came to be. And said, is this, here's a concept we have, and what do you think? Is this something right? Should we do this? And if so, would you help out? Would you like to be on our board of advisors? And the resounding response was, yes, this is excellent. The industry needs this. So they all signed on to agree to help us craft and create the certification standard. And all 9 of these individuals took a personal interest in it and helped craft what became, or what is, the certification requirement. So all the things that we talked about thus far, they understand it very well. They live some of the experiences that you mentioned when you were with Lutron and Crestron about getting customer complaints. They want that to go away too. So if this could help them do that and make clients happier with the technology, they are all for it.
Now, Josh, we just got a comment on Facebook from Auzione. It says, happy to see, I don't know who's behind this handle, but it's the official Auzione Unlimited handle. It says, happy to see One Firefly chatting with HTA. We heartily endorse the HTA. And, of course, One Firefly is part of the Auzione family. Yes, we are. Richard, we're very happy to be a part of Auzione. And they says, it's all about amalgamating. And I think amalgamation is the theme of the next conference next month, if I'm correct. So just wanted to let you know, Josh, you had that support.
Excellent. Excellent.
On the page. And Auzione, Richard is one of the member of your board of advisors, correct?
Right. That is right.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, can you summarize, and maybe you've said this, but I'm going to ask you to kind of package it for me. What are the goals of the HTA? If you're successful, what are you trying to achieve? What's the outcome?
There's 3 main things, really. One of them is to raise the bar in this industry. The second is to create a respected standard of performance for integrators. Now there's a definition of what great looks like. And third, improve our industry's reputation and build consumer confidence in our industry, both with homeowners themselves, with the technology they have, and also to the design and build professionals like architects, designers, and builders. We want to raise the reputation of our industry to these professionals so they engage technology integrators much earlier in the process so we could get this technology integrated in people's homes in a better, more useful, better aesthetic way.
What are the benefits? What are the benefits to the integrator? So if the integrator gains a HTA certification, now I also believe there's a couple different levels of certification. Is that correct?
Yes, there are. There's a basic set of requirements that all firms must meet to even be considered HTA certified. And then once a company is certified, then they are classified in one of three different tiers. And all the tiers are excellent. It's not saying one's better than another. It's just classifying them on the type of projects, what their sweet spots are. So, for example, we want the consumers to find the right fit for the complexity and size of their project, because some firms, and it's interesting, I've talked to literally hundreds of integrators throughout all this, and some firms are excellent at doing shorter term projects, smaller, less complicated projects. They're great at it. They have a system at it, and they are very profitable at that field. And they are not into the larger custom estates that take often, several months to years to build. They're not set up with project management that way. They're not into the heavy duty engineering documentation that is needed to do those projects well. So it's not saying one's better than another, but this is the type of projects these companies excel in, because we want the consumer to find the right size company. So that is what those three tiers are about. We describe them pretty well on the website, which is at htacertified.org. There's a page on there that says HTA certification defined, and it spits out the basic requirements, and then what the different flavors are between the three different tiers, which are called foundation, luxury, and estate. So we describe them there. But to answer your question about the value of what's the value to the integrator, this is a good way to illustrate it. A Michelin star has a huge value to a chef. And the same can be said about a 5-star safety rating for a car. If you're out wanting to protect your family, safety ratings make a big difference when you're shopping amongst different vehicles. Well, HTA offers that same sort of third-party endorsement to say, this firm is one of the best. So, and this is a reality that most consumers are going to discount the claims made by someone trying to sell them something. Like, I'm the best, I'm better than this guy over here, hire me. Well, the next company is going to say the same thing about themselves. And we're so used to that in our lives that we often discount claims made by the salespeople. Even if they're true, let's assume they're true, oftentimes those get discounted. But if an unbiased third party says that a company is excellent and they're rated well, all of a sudden it carries that weight of fact. So we want the Home Technology Association to be the catalyst to shift, or to create that standard, that also the benefit to the consumer, or to the integrator in this case, is to shift roughly what we estimate to be about $4 billion of business going, in this country, by the way, it's $4 billion in the U.S., of business that gets awarded to firms that are not really qualified to execute at that level, and bring that up to the integrators that are performing at a high level. So we want to shift business away from the companies that are not really qualified to do it, up to the better firms that are qualified to do it, and not only are qualified, but have demonstrated customer service so they could keep those clients happy for years into the future.
Can a company hold multiple levels of the certification? Have you found through your research or through people that have already been moving through your process that some firms might say fit into multiple categories?
Yes. So if you are certified at the more, let's say, larger project certification, such as the luxury and the estate tiers, by assumption, that means that you are also could handle foundation and luxury and estate projects. But here's something we found that's very interesting. As many of you know in the audience, in this industry, firms vary dramatically, across the landscape. So, for example, in the firms that are already certified, some of those firms like to take projects at all sizes. They're qualified to do the projects the large size. They have the customer service, they have the aftercare support policies in place, and they've also demonstrated by the project mix that they've done in certain price tiers, because we ask all that on our application, that they've executed at that level of size of project. And the manufacturers that we check and do our background checks with say, yes, this firm is great at these larger projects. So boom, they get this designation as being, let's say, HTA certified at luxury or estate tiers. So, but to answer your question on there, some of these firms like to do smaller projects too. They like the quicker turn, $10,000 to $30,000 projects in and out, done in a couple days or a week or so. These quicker projects. Whereas some of those firms only really specialize in large projects, big estates they might be very small staff. They might have 6 to 8 people, let's say under 10 people, and they only do a handful of jobs a year, and they're typically, $500,000 and up projects. Now, a firm like that is not interested in smaller projects, so there's a way that they're able to indicate on the application which project sizes that they are interested in, so they don't show up in searches on the small project. So that keeps them from being annoyed, let's say, on a project that they're really not set up or interested in taking on.
Now, Josh, I've got a couple of comments here on Facebook that I want to read out to you. One, and it has to do with this classification question. K&B Communications says the size. It says, I'm going to just quote what it says. It says, but the size of company has nothing to do with it? ? It's all about the type of projects they do. So you could be a small firm but prefer to do large projects, or you could be a large firm that prefers to do small projects. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, and we're seeing exactly what you just said. That exact sentence is really playing out to be true. Matter of fact, the estate level of certification is the most stringent one to meet, and 33% of the HTA estate certified firms at this point are 10 employees and less, including the owner. So these are smaller firms, and it's really, I've actually been really enjoying this process of getting to see the vast difference in business models and company sizes of great firms that have all these high marks from their industry peers that are so different, and yet they know their craft well. So yes, size of company does not matter at all. This is not about size of company. It's about professionalism, excellence, and making consumers happy with technology.
Now I've got another question here from Sean Sturmer. He's a good regular here on Automation Unplugged. Never afraid to ask questions, so thank you, Sean. Appreciate your engagement. And Sean says, will you be marketing to consumers to steer them to the custom marketplace? Or will there be any consumer outreach for HTA? That sounds very expensive, but is that in the cards either now or in the future, or what's your take there?
That could be in the future, but I could, to answer it more succinctly, our main avenue of outreach is actually to the design and build communities, the architects, designers, and builders. They are often the ones that are feeding. They are feeding the integrators with projects early on, and I could tell you I did a lot of outreach in this career so far since 1995. I've talked to many architects, designers, and builders. I did a lot of outreach, a lot of lecturing, and I can tell you that they are overall, like I said earlier, unhappy with this industry and have been let down too many times. If we could give them an avenue to find the good integrators, a filter, if you will, of companies with proven excellence, they're going to eat this up. And so far, by the way, the response from them has been very good. So we are reaching out to architects, designers, and builders, both through direct email campaigns. We have a newsletter for them to sign up at, which can be done right at the website at the subscribe link at the bottom. Integrators, anybody can sign up to that newsletter. So if you're interested, do that. And also through Facebook and LinkedIn targeting ads and retargeting in general to the architect, designer, and builder community. So that is a more attainable goal. As we open up in each market, we are going to be focusing on architects, designers, and builders in those markets as we go throughout the country and open up more and more markets.
Now, are you getting some cooperation, Josh, from your integrators that pass certification? Are they aiding you in your ability to reach out to, say, their network of the design trade, designers, architects, and builders? And are you cooperating with your certified partners in any way?
Yes, this has worked out extremely well. From the get-go, we had this in mind to say, once a firm is certified, we call up and let them know, congratulations, your firm met HTA certification requirements. By the way, are there architects, designers, and builders that you work with? Maybe that they're not saying you work now, but you've marketed to. They know who you are. They're a little unsure of you. It's a new relationship you're trying to build. Give us their name, and their email, and what are they, an architect, designer, builder, and would you like us to reach out to them on your behalf and let them know, A, that you're certified, so that puts you in this rarefied classification that you're now an HTA certified firm, and so that makes that company look really good because you have an outside third party touting that company's benefits, that they're good. And the second thing that does is it also brands the HTA to them. So it's a win-win. Now they get to understand what the Home Technology Association is, why that benefits them as an architect, and how that benefits their clients too. That's gone very, very well. In the last week, just 2 integrators have given me a roughly 50 names each on architects, designers, and builders. I should say 50